Before you pull into a gas station again, stop for a moment because the real danger doesn't begin when you squeeze the pump handle. It starts before that. Simple habits most American drivers perform automatically are quietly damaging fuel systems, confusing onboard sensors, and in some cases, creating fire risks no warning light will ever alert you to. The final mistake on this list can save you thousands of dollars or prevent a serious accident right at the pump. Stay to the end because most drivers make it without ever realizing it. Let's start with a hidden mistake inside a move you make without thinking. Mistake number 15. Filling a gas can. While it is sitting in your trunk or truck bed, you are buying fuel for a mower, generator, or snowblower. You place the plastic gas can in your trunk or the bed of your truck and start filling. It feels stable and convenient. In reality, it is one of the most dangerous things people do at gas stations. Most consumer fuel cans in the U.S. are made from high-density polyethylene, an excellent electrical insulator. As gasoline splashes into the container, static electricity builds on both the fuel and the inner surface of the can. If the container is sitting on bare concrete or asphalt, tiny moisture paths allow that charge to slowly dissipate. But when it is sitting on carpet, a rubber cargo mat, or a plastic bed liner, the can is completely isolated from ground. As voltage builds, it eventually looks for a way out. The spark usually jumps at the rim of the container, exactly where gasoline vapor concentration is highest. Fire investigation reports show the same pattern repeatedly: plastic can, plastic surface, dry weather, ignition at the opening. Once ignited, the flame flashes back into the can and expands violently. Many truck bed fires start this way. The correct method is simple and non-negotiable. Remove the container from the vehicle. Place it directly on the ground. Keep the nozzle in contact with the container opening for the entire fill. Convenience lasts seconds. Fires last much longer. Mistake number 14, getting back into your car while the nozzle is still pumping. You pull up and start fueling, lock the nozzle, then step back into the driver's seat. Maybe it's cold, maybe it's hot. Maybe you are just killing time on your phone. A few seconds later, you step back out and grab the nozzle again, just as the pump is still flowing or has just clicked off. It feels harmless. Mechanically, nothing in your fuel system changed. Electrically, everything did. Modern fuel pumps in the United States are bonded and grounded. The nozzle, hose, and dispenser are designed to safely dissipate static electricity created as gasoline moves at high speed. When you keep your hand on the nozzle, your body becomes part of that grounded system. But when you let go, slide across synthetic seat fabric, and then step back out, your body builds static charge. In dry conditions, the charge can exceed several thousand volts. The filler neck is exactly where gasoline vapor concentrates. Gasoline vapor has a wide, flammable range, and near an open filler, the mixture is often ideal for ignition. A microscopic static discharge is all it takes. This is why United States fire safety codes explicitly warn against re-entering your vehicle while refueling. When these fires occur, they escalate instantly. Vapors ignite, flames climb the vehicle, and drivers instinctively yank the nozzle out, spraying burning fuel across paint, pavement, and clothing. If you must re-enter your car, always touch a metal part of the vehicle away from the filler before grabbing the nozzle again. Static is invisible, but the risk is very real. Mistake number 13. Topping off the tank after the pump clicks. The pump shuts off. The tank is full. But you squeeze again, rounding up the dollar amount or trying to squeeze in a few extra miles. On modern U.S. spec vehicles with sealed EVAP systems and onboard vapor recovery, this habit directly fights the way the system was engineered. When the pump clicks off, the tank has reached its designed fill level. Above the liquid fuel is a vapor space that allows expansion as temperatures rise. When you force more fuel in, liquid backs up into the filler neck and submerges the vent inlet. From there, fuel is pushed into vent lines meant only for vapor and eventually into the charcoal canister. That canister is designed to absorb gasoline vapor, not liquid fuel. Once soaked, it stops functioning properly. Vapor flow becomes restricted, tank pressure builds, and refueling problems begin. Pumps click off repeatedly. Fuel burps back out of the filler. Strong fuel odors appear. Eventually, the check engine light comes on with EVAP fault codes. At a typical US repair shop, replacing a saturated charcoal canister, vent valve, and damaged hoses can cost anywhere from $300 to $900. None of that improves performance. All of it was preventable. The fix is simple and free. When the pump clicks the first time, stop. Modern fuel systems are precise. Topping off only breaks what was working correctly. Mistake number 12. Routinely running the tank near empty. You stretch it another day with the gauge below E and the warning light glowing. It feels efficient, using every last drop. But on most modern vehicles sold in the United States, this habit quietly shortens the life of one of the most expensive components in the fuel system. Modern fuel pumps are electric units mounted inside the tank. They rely on surrounding fuel for cooling, lubrication, and a steady inlet supply. When fuel levels drop very low, more of the pump is exposed to hot vapor instead of liquid. Repeated exposure raises operating temperature and accelerates internal wear. Low fuel levels also increase the chance of drawing air into the pump, especially during hard acceleration, turns, or hills. These brief starvation events feel like hesitation or stumbling, but internally they stress the pump and injectors. Fuel tanks also accumulate debris over time, rust particles, dust, and rubber fragments. When the tank is nearly empty, the pump draws from the exact area where that sediment concentrates. Refueling at around a quarter tank keeps the pump submerged, cool, and away from the worst contamination. Running on fumes does not save money. It trades convenience today for a premature fuel pump failure tomorrow. Mistake number 11. Refueling right after a fuel delivery. You pull into a station and notice a tanker truck unloading, or it has just pulled away and the fill covers are still wet. Most drivers ignore it and fuel up anyway. What they do not realize is that underground storage tanks are calm most of the time, and fuel delivery is the one moment when everything inside gets violently disturbed. When thousands of gallons rush into an underground tank, sediment that normally sits undisturbed at the bottom gets lifted into suspension. Rust flakes from tank walls, fine dirt, and condensed water are stirred throughout the fuel. While station suction lines are positioned above the bottom, a turbulent tank temporarily turns the entire volume into a fine debris mix. From your vehicle's perspective, that contamination reaches the fuel filter far sooner than expected. The pump works harder against restriction, heating up and wearing faster. Finer particles that slip through begin moving toward injector screens and spray nozzles. Over time, spray patterns degrade, combustion becomes uneven, and idle quality suffers. These issues do not appear immediately after the fill-up, which is why drivers rarely connect them back to the gas station. If you see a tanker present or evidence of recent delivery, wait 15 to 30 minutes or come back later. Clean fuel starts with calm tanks. Turbulence belongs on racetracks, not underground storage. Mistake number 10. Leaving the engine running while refueling. Don't idle your engine while refueling. You leave the engine idling so the cabin stays cool in summer or warm in winter. From the outside, it seems harmless. In reality, you're refueling with every ignition and electrical system fully active. An idling engine means ignition coils firing thousands of times per minute. The alternator is generating current. Electric radiator fans can cycle on without warning. Relays and contactors open and close, sometimes producing tiny electrical arcs. Meanwhile, the exhaust system remains hot, often positioned close to where fuel vapors can travel. Gasoline vapor is heavier than air. It doesn't just rise and disappear. It sinks, drifts, and pools around the filler neck and under the vehicle. Under normal conditions, vapor concentration stays below ignition limits. But U.S. safety standards are written for the rare moment when everything aligns badly, such as a small spill, a gust of wind, a relay arc, or vapor drifting toward a hot surface. With the engine running, the EVAP system is also active. Purge valves may cycle, confusing pressure readings as fuel enters the tank. Some vehicles detect refueling with the engine on, others don't, and log faulty data that leads to drivability issues later. Turn the engine off. Discomfort lasts minutes. Risk and confusion last much longer. Mistake number 9. Always choosing the cheapest, lowest traffic station or pump. You hunt for the lowest price, the off-brand station, or the pump that never has a line. On the surface, fuel is fuel. Underground, the story can be very different. Station storage tanks accumulate water and sediment over time. Condensation forms as temperatures change. In some cases, microbial growth develops at the fuel-water interface, producing sludge. High-volume stations cycle fuel constantly. New deliveries arrive, old fuel moves out quickly, and contamination is more likely diluted or detected early. Low-volume stations and rarely used pumps may hold the same batch of fuel much longer. During that time, dissolved water can settle into layers. Microbial growth accelerates. Oxidation slowly degrades fuel quality. When that fuel finally reaches your tank, the effects show up as rough idle, hesitation, poor combustion, and clogged fuel filters well before their normal service interval. Injectors suffer too. Deposits distort spray patterns, reducing atomization and increasing emissions. In severe cases, drivers experience stalling immediately after refueling or even a no-start condition. Look for stations with visible turnover, clean facilities, and consistent traffic. A quiet pump is sometimes quiet for a reason. Cheap fuel at the pump can turn into expensive repairs down the line. Mistake number 8, dumping very old gasoline into the tank before filling up. You find a fuel can that has been sitting in a garage or shed for months. Instead of disposing of it, you pour it into your car and then top off with fresh gas, assuming dilution makes it harmless. Chemically, that assumption is wrong. Gasoline sold in the United States is a carefully balanced blend of light volatile components, heavier hydrocarbons, detergents, and often ethanol. Over time, especially in vented containers exposed to heat and air, oxidation begins. The most volatile components evaporate first. Octane rating drops. Gums and varnish-like compounds form. Ethanol-blended fuels absorb moisture from the air, increasing water content. Laboratory testing shows stale gasoline can lose 3 to 4 octane points and develop measurable deposits. When you dump the entire can into your tank, especially the last few ounces, where contamination is most concentrated, you send degraded fuel directly into fuel injectors, pressure regulators, and combustion chambers. Modern engines are tightly calibrated around minimum octane. Lower the octane significantly and NOx sensors intervene. The ECU pulls ignition timing, reducing power and fuel economy. Meanwhile, oxidation byproducts coat injector tips and intake components, degrading spray patterns over time. Old gasoline should be treated as hazardous waste and taken to municipal disposal facilities. Pouring it into your car does not save money. It spreads damage quietly and expensively. Mistake number 7. Using fuel additives right before filling up. You pull into the station, pour an injector cleaner or octane booster into a nearly empty tank, then immediately begin fueling at full pump speed. It may seem logical to mix it quickly and move on. Chemically, that is the worst possible timing. Fuel additives are designed to dilute gradually across a full tank. Pouring them into a nearly empty tank creates an extremely concentrated mixture at the bottom of the tank. As fuel rushes in, that concentrate is violently churned, and vapors are displaced through the evap vent path. Fine droplets and aerosolized additive can migrate toward vent lines and the charcoal canister, loading components that were never designed to absorb solvents or detergents. High solvent concentration also temporarily reduces fuel lubricity. Modern fuel pumps depend on fuel for lubrication, and excessive detergent levels increase internal wear over time. Additive labels match bottle size to tank capacity for a reason. One bottle is meant for one full tank, not an empty tank receiving fuel at high flow. Overuse or poor timing does not clean better. It accelerates wear quietly. If you use additives at all, add them to a mostly full tank or add them after refueling when dilution is controlled. More chemistry does not mean more protection. Precision matters. Mistake number 6. Using random bottles or jugs instead of approved fuel containers. You grab whatever container is nearby to carry fuel to a stranded car, generator, or mower. A soda bottle, a water jug, a mystery container from the garage. It holds liquid, so it must be fine. It isn't. Approved fuel containers sold in the United States are made from specific plastics or metals designed to resist gasoline solvents and limit vapor permeation. Many everyday containers are not. Thin PET bottles, household jugs, or unknown recycled plastics soften, swell, or become brittle when exposed to gasoline. As gasoline breaks down these materials, plasticizers, dyes, and microscopic fragments leach into the fuel. Larger particles may be caught by the tank strainer or fuel filter. Finer debris isn't. It reaches injectors and high-pressure pumps. Modern direct injection systems operate at extreme precision, with pressures exceeding 2,000 bar and internal clearances measured in microns. The result isn't immediate failure, it's accelerated wear, noisy pumps, partially clogged injectors, distorted spray patterns that reduce power and efficiency. One certified fuel container eliminates this entire risk category. Improvised containers introduce contamination you'll never see until the damage is already done. Mistake number 5. Ignoring the fuel grade label. Most drivers barely glance at the octane or ethanol markings. They repeatedly use cheaper regular fuel in engines calibrated for premium, or casually run high ethanol blends in vehicles never designed for them. The damage does not arrive with noise or warning lights. It arrives as heat. Octane rating measures a fuel's resistance to knock. High compression engines, turbocharged powertrains, and aggressive ignition maps are engineered around a specific minimum octane. Feed them less, and cylinder pressure rises too early. Knock sensors detect the vibration, and the engine control unit pulls back ignition timing to protect the engine. To the driver, it feels minor. Slightly weaker acceleration and worse fuel economy. Internally, combustion pressure peaks later, sending more heat out through the exhaust instead of into useful work. Exhaust gas temperatures rise, turbochargers run hotter, catalytic converters absorb excess heat. Over tens of thousands of miles, that added thermal load accelerates catalyst aging, turbo-bearing wear, and heat soak inside exhaust components. Saving a few cents per gallon can quietly shorten the life of parts that cost thousands to replace. Use the fuel grade the manufacturer specifies. Cheap fuel often becomes expensive heat. Mistake number 4. Drilling the gas cap or modifying the filler neck to fix slow filling is a dangerous shortcut. The pump keeps clicking off. Instead of diagnosing the problem, someone drills a hole in the gas cap or removes a rollover valve so fuel flows faster. At first it works. Long-term, it creates far worse problems. Refueling depends on a controlled balance between incoming liquid fuel and outgoing vapor through the evaporative emission system and the charcoal canister. When vent lines clog or the canister becomes saturated, vapor escapes too slowly and the nozzle shuts off early. Bypassing the system vents raw fuel vapor directly to the atmosphere and defeats safety and emissions controls. A modified cap allows moisture, dirt, and dust to enter the tank as temperatures change. Humid air condenses on metal surfaces, promoting corrosion. Dirt migrates into fuel, accelerating filter and injector wear. The engine control unit detects leaks and logs persistent fault codes for the evaporative emission system, sending owners down expensive diagnostic paths. The real fix is repairing the vent solenoid, replacing damaged hoses, or installing a new charcoal canister. Do not defeat a system designed to protect the tank, the engine, and the environment. Fast filling is not worth long-term fuel system damage. Mistake number 3, opening the gas cap with mud, dust, or salt packed around it. You pop the fuel door and twist the cap without a second thought. The area around it is caked with dried mud, road salt, beach sand, or off-road dust, but you open it anyway. What looks like harmless grime becomes contamination the moment the seal breaks. As the cap loosens, the dirt ring collapses inward. Some debris sticks to the cap, some falls directly into the filler neck. Most filler necks have a restrictor flap designed to block large objects, not fine particles. Sand, silt, and salt crystals ride along with the incoming fuel as the tank fills. Once inside the tank, those particles circulate constantly. Every acceleration, corner, and stop stirs them up. Modern fuel filters are designed to trap particles measured in microns because injector tolerances are extremely tight. Many high-pressure injection systems operate with clearances under 5 microns. For comparison, a single grain of road salt can be over 100 microns. Short-term, the fuel filter loads faster than expected. Drivers notice hesitation under load, stumbling during acceleration, or a fuel pump that grows louder over time. Long-term, abrasive particles erode pump vanes and injector internals, degrading spray patterns and combustion efficiency. 5 seconds of wiping around the gas cap with a rag can prevent hundreds in fuel system repairs and thousands in injector damage. Contamination does not always come from fuel. Sometimes it falls in from above. Mistake number 2, ignoring strange pump behavior and forcing the fill. The pump clicks off repeatedly. Fuel flow surges, stalls, or only works if the nozzle is held at a strange angle. Many drivers blame the station and respond by twisting the nozzle, feathering the trigger, or restarting the pump over and over. What they are really doing is overpowering a warning. The automatic shutoff in a fuel nozzle is a mechanical safety system. A small sensing port near the tip detects when fuel or vapor disrupts airflow. That detection interacts directly with your vehicle's evaporative emissions venting. When the tank fills, vapor must escape freely. If the charcoal canister is saturated, vent lines are kinked, or a rollover valve is sticking. Pressure builds in the filler neck and trips the nozzle early. When you force fuel in after repeated shutoffs, liquid gasoline gets pushed into vent lines meant only for vapor. The charcoal canister becomes soaked. Activated carbon, which must remain dry, physically degrades when flooded. As venting worsens, slow filling and constant clicking become permanent. Drivers often do not see the damage immediately. Weeks later, evaporative system fault codes appear. Refueling becomes nearly impossible. Repairs escalate. Always try another pump first. If multiple pumps behave the same way, the issue is your vehicle, not the station. Powering through does not solve it. It guarantees a bigger repair bill. Mistake number 1, not tightening the gas cap properly. After refueling, drivers often twist the cap on quickly, Barely snug, cross-threaded, or click it just once. It seems insignificant. In reality, it is the smallest part of the entire fuel system, with some of the biggest consequences. Modern vehicles sold in the United States use sealed EVAP systems designed to capture fuel vapors and prevent hydrocarbons from escaping into the atmosphere. The system regularly performs self-tests. The ECU applies slight vacuum or pressure using the purge valve and vent valve, then monitors how well the system holds it through a tank pressure sensor. If pressure changes too quickly, the system assumes there is a leak. A loose or improperly sealed gas cap is functionally the same as drilling a hole in the fuel system. Vapors escape freely, defeating onboard refueling vapor recovery and EVAP controls. At the same time, humid outside air, dust, and road grime are drawn in as temperatures change. Moisture condenses on cooler internal surfaces, promoting corrosion inside the filler neck and fuel tank. Rust flakes form. Fine debris enters the fuel. The result is often a check engine light with EVAP leak codes. Many drivers chase the problem blindly. Purge valves get replaced. Vent solenoids get swapped. Even charcoal canisters are changed before someone finally checks the cap. Each unnecessary repair adds cost without fixing the real issue. The fix is simple and free. Tighten the gas cap slowly until it clicks at least 3 times. That sound means the seal is locked. One twist prevents false codes, fuel vapor loss, corrosion, and thousands in wasted diagnostics. You've fixed the habits that quietly damage your fuel system, but one overlooked factor can still undo all of it in a single fill-up. Watch the next video to avoid a mistake that costs drivers thousands and almost never gets talked about.